Welcome back to the WAC podcast. Eric Danner and Kendra Sheehan, now joined by the head coach at Southern Utah, DeLane Fitzgerald. Coach, welcome to the show.
Guys, thank you for having me.
Coach, we appreciate you taking some time out. And first off, congratulations on the big win this past Saturday. As far as the game, let's kind of break that down a little bit before we look ahead to this week. After looking at the game film, was it better than you anticipated, maybe week one, or about where you expected to be?
No, as a head coach, it never, when it put on the film the following day, it's never as good as you think it is, and when you play poorly, it's never as bad as you think it is. We were happy with the way our guys played on Thursday night. Did they play a little better than we thought they would? Yeah, they did. They played a little better. Our opponent wasn't quite as good as we thought they were going to be going into the game. But we had some individual performances that we were proud of. But most of all, really proud of the stick-to-itiveness of our players, continuing to play the next play. We were worried at halftime on it that they haven't won here in a long time. We were worried about how they were going to handle being up 14. And then when we went up 20, how they were going to handle that. And they did a nice job. So pleased with that. And most of all, guys, really excited about the way our kids played together and stuck together through all the adversity of camp and of last Thursday night.
One of those players that, of course, sticks out to us is quarterback Justin Miller. Went 23 for 35, 364 yards, 3 touchdowns. What can you say about his performance in week one? Was it where you expected him to be?
It was. We weren't surprised with how well Justin played. Guys, Justin's a married 24-year-old return missionary here. The term grown man, and I'll leave the other word that we usually leave out of there, but he's a grown man. He handles himself on and off the field like an adult. And then here's the thing that people don't know: he understands our offense as well as our coaching staff does. And he actually teaches our offense to all the new players that we bring into the program. But yeah, pleased with the way Justin played, not unexpected.
Well, Justin Miller was our Ticket Smarter WAC Offensive Player of the Week. And watching the game, Coach, one of the things that was impressive, you can tell the maturity, I guess, when you're watching just the way he hangs in the pocket. He took some big shots to get off some of those great throws and those 3 touchdown passes.
Yeah, you guys asked, what was it as good as we thought it was? One of our goals going into the game is for him not to take shots, and he took a few too many on Thursday night. You're right about that, Eric. But Eric, when things are bad, he's good, and when things are good, he's good, and he is very consistent. He does this. His whole life is just like this. He's just right above. He's above board with everything he does.
Zach Strand is a guy that we talked about at Media Day. You just mentioned it. He's like your son. You've been with him since 2017. He played Division III, Division II, and he finally played in his first Division I football game, had 2 solo tackles. How would you evaluate the way that he was able to step up for the team?
Yeah, Zach's fighting through a little bit of a nagging injury and probably shouldn't have played Thursday night. That being said, he had a tackle for loss. He had a fumble recovery. He had 2 solo tackles. He did a good job, playing at about 60-65% on Thursday night, and we're pleased with Zach. Zach's going to get some downtime. Zach's going to get some downtime here this week and this weekend so that we can have him back full speed for the FCS games. Zach's always going to be a player, and it hadn't happened. Kendra, it hadn't happened yet, but as soon as he gets his first sack, he's going to be the first player in NCAA history to have a sack in D3, a sack in D2, and a sack in Division I football. He now has a tackle for loss and a fumble recovery at all 3 levels. But he'll end up having a sack at all of them. And Zach is our on the field and off the field defensive leader. But going forward, he'll be better than he was Thursday night.
Well, that'll be a very good game note, and maybe the NCAA can take note of that stat. Yeah, that he'd be the first player in history to have
future sideline hit potentially.
Hey, if you're going to be in Cedar City in a few weeks. Coach, as far as the special teams go, also very impressed with Jake Girardi, your punter. I mean, this guy's got a leg. I mean, you we're talking to you a little bit before the podcast started here, and you were showing us the mountains around the area, and you're about 6,000 feet, which obviously helps a punter. But I mean, the one that he hit, I think he got 71 yards net, but he hit that thing, what, 75 yards in the air? I mean, that was one of the best punts I've ever seen.
Well, it went into the end zone. It was actually about 95 yards, wasn't it? You guys asked me about surprises. Yeah. Hey, Jake is steady Eddie in practice, and he kicks the ball to the goal line on all the kickoffs. And then his punts are around 50 yards a pop in practice. He gets out there the other night in the game, and he's hitting them 70-something yards in the air. So that one, a pleasant surprise. But old Thunderfoot came to play last Thursday night. We're happy that he did. Guys, Jay Girardi's our defensive MVP last week, and he didn't take a snap on defense. Just his ability to flip the field on kickoffs and on punts really helped our defense.
Based after the first game where we saw some people who, surprised us, who really stepped up, where would you say an area that you saw that was something that you definitely want to work on for the rest of the season? Your first game out, and you're like, this is an area of focus as we move ahead to week 2.
Yeah, Kendra, we want to work on all phases of our football program. After watching the film 3 times, our coaching staff came up with 150 things we need to improve on. So we've worked this week on some fundamentals and basics, and us improving on those things. And we're going to continue to harp on that. I'm thinking of a position group. Our running backs didn't play well. Our running backs did not play well Thursday night, did not play great assignment football, and didn't play as hard as we expected them to do. And then here's the coach's biggest fear, that they got into a game and the bullets are flying and the rubber has met the road, and they started doing their own thing, using blocking techniques that we hadn't used throughout camp. But we've got to get that running back position fixed. We're better than we showed on Thursday night.
Coach, we had a chance to talk to you at the WAC Football Media Day in just outside of Houston back in July, and you were pretty candid that at that time about this Utah game that you have coming up this week. You're playing a team started off, top 10 ranked in the nation, and we see, a lot of FCS teams playing games like this. We saw Sam Houston play Texas A&M. Obviously, Sam Houston is transitioning to FBS, but playing a top 10 team, and seemingly the cards are stacked against you. Any changes in your thought process since we talked to you in July as the game is now this week?
Yeah, we're playing Utah for $600,000 on Saturday, and other coaches are afraid to throw those figures out, but I'm not. It funds our athletic program, and Eric, I don't have an issue with doing it one time. But because we have some non-revenue sports at our university, and every university does, and it helps those sports. And I like competitive endeavors, so I really like watching our non-revenue sports at this university play. I don't have a problem doing it one time, Eric. Where I get up in arms a little bit is, and I don't care if it gets out there, we're going to play Utah for a bunch of money. We signed up before we did the WAC ASUN Alliance. We took the money from Eastern Kentucky too, so we're getting paid money to go there and play. So there's another guarantee game. And then we turn around the last game of the season and play Sam Houston State, who's now playing with 85 scholarships. So in an 11-game season, an FCS team with 63 scholarships shouldn't have to go play 2 teams with 85 scholarships. And then our community and our university still expect the young men and the coaching staff to have a winning season. They expect us to be in a conference title hunt. They expect us to be in the playoffs, and so do we. So do we. We expect those things too. But if you're going to expect those things, hey, well, let's make sure we compare apples to apples and make sure things are even, Steven, at least 10 out of the 11 weekends. I'm talking to you guys now, and our schedule's not great this fall. It's a lot worse next year. 2023, we've got a war daddy to start the season.
Well, Coach, we certainly appreciate your honesty and your transparency. That's something you don't always get when you're looking at, FCS playing some of these big time games. Looks like there's just 2 games before WAC play. Of course, you guys open WAC play against your absolute rivals, Utah Tech. Do you feel like, I mean, I guess it's, 3 non-conference games. It is what it is, but it just feels like it's coming around so fast.
It may be a rivalry for our town and for our players and stuff. Our coaching staff's from east of the Mississippi. Hey, we didn't know where Dixie or St. George, any of that was even located before we got here. So it'll be another game for us, just another game week. Kendra, I know you're flying out and going to broadcast and do some things for that game that they're expecting to break the school attendance record. So it must mean something. It must mean something here to the people that I don't know about. There'll be 15, 20,000 people in this little stadium on September 24th, and it'll be a great atmosphere. It'll be exciting for everybody involved.
Coach, as Kendra mentioned, that Utah Tech game and that she'll be out there for, as far as your acceptance into the community there, your background, you've been, as you mentioned, east of the Mississippi, and you've won at a lot of different places. What's up in like that transition for you, moving to Cedar City, a place that maybe you didn't know a lot about before you lived there?
Yeah, this community is phenomenal, Eric. This town is phenomenal. My house sits across the road from the city fishing lake, and we are a quarter of a mile from all the baseball and softball fields. My kids are within 3 blocks of like 4 parks. And you didn't ask this question to hear me tell you about my family, but hey, we're 3/4 of a mile from the aquatic center. Our daughter gets to walk back and forth to her middle school. This is as big and as clean and as nice a community as I've ever lived in. The people here, the people here are really, really good. And I need to make sure, this is a predominantly LDS community. And although I'm not a member of the church and not LDS, I was accepted into the LDS community in 2006 when I took a job at Southern Virginia University in my home state, because that's an LDS community. And the people here are just salt of the earth, really, really good people. I can't talk long enough or hard enough about how well I've been treated in my 9 months here.
It's certainly a beautiful place from what I hear. I cannot wait to check it out. For you, as this transition to a new school, head coach, Division I, has it been like you've expected so far?
Yeah, football is football. And the level. The level, the team that blocks, the team that has stance and start and blocks and plays with low pad level and runs the football and throws the football and catches the football on offense is going to be the best offense. And then you flip it over on defense. The team that plays with low pad level and violent hands and leg drive, and the team that defeats blocks and tackles the best and knows where to run fit and run fits, that's going to be the best defense. And Kendra, I think it goes that way. D3, D2, Division I. I think the teams that line up and execute the fundamentals and have the basics down pat where they're second nature, I think you're good at any level. Don't get me wrong. Alabama's got better players than everybody in the country, and Georgia's got better players than everybody in the country. But watch the discipline they have in their technique each and every play when they're playing. They're technically sound. They understand fundamentals. They've been taught the basics, those young men. And at the end of the game, they're usually the best team.
Southern Utah plays at Utah this Saturday. That's going to be on the Pac-12 networks, one of their platforms there. Coach, what does your schedule look like this week, playing an in-state rival? When are you going to be traveling up, that type of thing? You're going to be doing any events around there? I imagine you got some alumni that are going to be in that Salt Lake City area to watch you guys.
Yeah, we're hoping that the SUU alums are going to show up this Saturday, 11:30 a.m. Who thought that up?
I know.
Yeah. I like to get out of bed at about 9:30 a.m. What are we doing playing at 11:30? So hey, they're cutting into my sleep. But we're hoping to have a pretty good turnout. Eric, that they've been down here for a handful of years in football, and I think some of our SUU alum have converted over to Utah alum since it's that same red. So we may have some alumni in the stands wearing Utes gear. We're excited about the challenge, and we're going to come out we're going to come out and take our shots early and see if we can compete. And then later on in the game, if it gets out of hand, we'll get our meaningful players off the field and make sure that they're healthy going into WAC play.
You mentioned the early game. I mean, you say you get up at 9. I'm not getting out of bed until 11:30, so I'm missing kickoff there. If I'm
it was a joke. You got school age kids. I'm up out of bed at 6 a.m. every morning.
All right. Well,
moving around. Yeah. Hey, Kendra, enjoy it while you can. Hey, adulthood is not that much fun.
That's why the weekends are for sleeping till 4 p.m.
Absolutely.
While I'm still young.
Well, Coach, we want to thank you for taking some time out. Good luck this weekend for the rest of the season.
Guys, I appreciate y'all having me. First class. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Go Thunderbirds.
All right. That is DeLane Fitzgerald, head football coach at Southern Utah University. And thanks for listening to the WAC podcast.